Good morning and welcome to Moneylinc, brought to you by Interlinc Financial with Gayle and Steve, live at Venture X Studios here in Frisco, Texas. Help me welcome Steve and Gayle.
Ooh, Steve.
That's us.
That's us. Hey, that's really cool. So
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, good morning. I've already had my coffee. Have you had your coffee?
Oh, no, I haven't had coffee. That was...
Oh, come on.
No.
The engineer hasn't had coffee.
No,
yet.
I haven't had coffee yet.
I'm going back to bed. I've got you guys started. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Good luck with the
Well,
cameras.
Have a nice day, everyone. I got to go get my coffee.
No, you made the bed instead of got coffee. So that's
right.
a good thing. That's a really good thing. So why don't you introduce yourself since nobody knows us?
Okay. Well, I'm Steve. This is my wife, Gayle. We are actually owners of a financial advisory firm here in the Metroplex area. I am the president, and Gayle is the vice president of this corporation. So, yes, we are married. We work together, and there's never a fight ever for us. It's always nice and calm.
Yes, it's great. It's greatness. So, where were you born?
So, I was born in Austin and grew up in a small town in Southwest Texas on the border called Bracketville. Father was a Border Patrol officer, mother was a teacher. And grew up there. A little bit of background about me. I was in the Navy for a few years and have a background in finance and molecular biology, believe it or not. So I'm kind of the analytical one of the group. I hope I try to be not just anal, but entertaining at the same time.
Sometimes you're not anal.
I try not to be.
It's good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, hon.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So then... Where did you work after you graduated from San Diego State University?
Well, when I graduated, went into the medical field, was in the biotech industry for a few years, and that's where we met.
Yes.
I did. I met you on a ski trip. I was a national marketing director for a company, and they had to send me to Aspen for a conference, and that's where we met, and our friendship began.
That's right. Now, I was born in Germany. I was an Army brat. Grew up here in Texas, graduated from Plano Senior High School in 1988. Yes, 88. And then, went into the medical field for about 15 years as a surgical assistant, which is how Steve and I met in the medical field. About 2006, I quit the medical field, went into the financial industry and worked for a company there. Lots of fun, enjoyable, interesting time in that time frame.
It was.
But, as far as how Steve and I met, we were in Aspen, like he said. I was a surgical assistant. He worked for a company that was trying to recruit the doctor that I was working for, and to speak about his product. As the doctor that I worked for spoke about he was kind of an industry leader, and then he would speak on the podium, and all the medical companies would try to, entice him so that he would speak about their product, and that meant that the doctors that were listening would go buy their product. So that was Steve's job, and then, of course, I worked for the doctor as a surgical assistant. And this particular conference was like a ski show, or what'd they call it, a ski meeting?
Yeah, it was a
ski meeting. So we would meet in the morning and then ski during the day and then meet again for like a couple hours in the afternoon or late afternoon and then go to dinner. Well, I had never skied before. And had you skied before? Snow skied?
I had.
Okay.
Just I wasn't ready for that trip.
Uh-huh.
It was short.
I know you weren't.
We'll get to that later.
So, Steve's company, Steve announced to everyone that if anyone wanted to do ski lessons, he would be more than happy to cover that financially. And I was like, okay, well, I've never skied before. I might as well do some lessons. And it turned out that Steve and I guess, were the only ones who never knew how to ski or needed the lessons. So we were the only ones that showed up. And our ski instructor had a very hard time figuring out that we were not married. In fact, I was married to someone else at the time, and Steve had just gone through divorce. And we were, I don't know, we had a really good time, I would say. But the instructor, I think he had smoked a few doobies, don't you think so?
Oh, without a doubt, it's Colorado, so
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
I think he
yeah,
had.
he was there.
Definitely.
The Doobie Brothers?
Yeah.
It's their uncle.
What's a doobie?
Reefer.
Refried beans?
How do you say it?
It's
Oh, is that a Mary Joanna
Yes,
cigarette?
Mary Joanna.
it's
Gotcha.
Rocky Mountain High.
Oh,
Yes.
I was born a lot later
Yeah,
than
that
you
was-
guys. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Back to you.
A lot later.
No problem.
So then we would go, I smoked Steve on the ski slopes.
Did not smoke me
Yes,
on the
I was
ski-
so much better than you.
You were not
Yes, I
that
was
much better than me.
a heck of a lot better than you.
You were just prepared. Your legs lasted longer
Well,
than
that's
mine.
true. You
That's
found
all.
out 5 hours before that you were going,
Exactly.
and I've been preparing
not
for 3
smoking.
months. But I had never skied before.
Yeah.
Mhm. You were also used to water skiing, not snow skiing.
Yeah. On with the story. No,
Poor thing.
No, we're good. You didn't smoke.
You did. I
Mm-mm.
did.
No.
Well, when the instructor took me to the blue
No,
slopes
that's not. No,
and dropped you
No.
off at the green
No,
slope,
that's not true.
that should really give you an indication
No,
of how
that's-
much
that's-
better I did than you did. But that's okay. We'll keep going. Steve and I
Sorry.
were good friends for several years. I went through a divorce, and then Steve and I, a few years after that, started dating. And let's see, in 2009, we got married, right?
Got married, and this is just the thing. It's you always hear that story where you're going to marry your best friend, and we seriously were just friends through this entire thing. So Gayle knew everything about me.
Yes.
Probably too much, but she definitely knew who she was marrying.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when we are talking, that the things that I might have disclosed to a friend can come back and haunt me. But
Yes,
remember
Heather.
that. Let's not talk about that. So anyway,
Heather's my favorite
yeah,
name.
no, Heather's your favorite name. So
Oh, we need to look into that.
no, we don't. We don't need to talk
We need
about
to know who our financial team is.
No, we're one unit. We're one unit.
Were there thongs involved?
No,
Flip flops.
Yeah, of course, flip-flops. That's exactly what you meant.
that was this. Absolutely. That's how we go.
Oh, my goodness.
I hope Heather's not watching. Hi, Heather. Okay.
Well, I could bring up some others, but that's
No,
okay.
we'll leave it at that. Let's move on with the story.
Okay. So, I actually went to Steve's second wedding, and the night before I got married, he said to me, "Well, Gayle, what do you think? What do you think about her, and how do you think this is going to play out?" And I said, "Well, okay, best friend. When this breaks up, I'll be here waiting for you."
Yeah, there's my Hallmark moment.
Yes, it's a super Hallmark.
Yeah,
It's
so
amazing.
You called it.
Let's switch
Let-
topics
let-
because I'm
let-
seeing that your
Yeah,
face.
this is for the first show. This is let's little transition, everybody.
Yeah,
So
I'll bring all the facial expressions out in you.
yeah.
So, how did the company start, Steve?
Well, like you said, you were in the financial industry,
Yes.
and were working for a company. And since I had come from my industry with a lot of startup companies, and I was looking to transition out of corporate, I kind of saw what you were doing.
Right.
And
Right.
one of the things that I was good at, because I had done it, was taking companies from the foundation and building them up and finding supply lines and things like that. And so when we looked at this, I liked what you were doing, but I knew that
Right.
if we were independent, we would be able to provide
Right.
better services, better products at a lower cost point
Mhm.
for the clientele.
Yes.
And that's how we kind of evolved
Right.
and grew from there.
Now, did you? Where am I going with this?
Tell me.
Well, then, so we decided to start our own company, and then that morphed into Interlinc Financial.
Mm-hmm. It did.
And then tell me about, are we a registered investment advisor? Are we just, how go through that with me?
Yeah, well, one of the things about Interlinked is when we started looking at what we wanted to create, we noticed that there were two spectrums. Not that it's right or wrong. It's just how people approached it. Some were insurance licensed only, and people do need those type of services, and
Sure.
some were investment serviced only for the most part and just wanted to talk about stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And that's good too.
Right.
So what we did is we incorporated both those realms under our umbrella on an independent scale so that we could kind of help the public as best they could. And that way we weren't geared towards one or the other. It was just focused on what is good for the clients.
Right.
And being that that's important because as a registered investment advisor, we are, I am a fiduciary, and which means I'm legally obligated to work in the client's best interest so that when we put something together, have to kind of bring that out. Why was it best for them?
Right.
And that's why we asked all the questions that we do and put all the pieces together and kind of help them achieve their dreams and their goals and what's best for their family.
And then we generally work with couples that are responsible or single people that are responsible, generally they come to us when they're about to retire or like 10 years from retirement, somewhere in there, and just making sure that they're on the right path to, to be successful when they do make that transition into retirement. Do you want to go over your tank pictures?
On those? Or kind of... Well, kind of one of the things that we try to do is, and as we got the show together, we were trying to hopefully, not only be entertaining, but kind of help you understand how you can make some choices for yourself. And as we go through this, we're going to be going over more detailed topics and things that are important to people. Like I said, we kind of work with people mostly that are about 5 years from retirement, making that transition. But we also, demographic is going to be people that are still building.
Right.
What are the roadblocks that you're going to find? How do these pieces fit?
Right.
And one of the things that we look at, as you can see on the screen here, what we try to do is, I don't care where you are in the whole spectrum of your life, whether young, middle, older, you're going to have financial choices. And these are the things that we try to do.
Right.
And one of the things that you look at is, and the frustrating thing about our industry is it gets very confusing.
It does.
Would you agree?
Yes, it does.
And everybody's got their own lingo and terms, and you don't know if it's for real or if it's a marketing ploy or what does it mean? And bottom line, you're trying to just say, is that good for me? What does this stuff mean in English?
How does that relate to me? How's that with my situation?
Exactly. Yeah, and everybody's going to be a little different. But what we've noticed is, as people have come through our offices and we've talked to families, there's a foundation here, is that you're here. You're point A. For those of you that are watching, and then you want to hit some destination B.
Point B, right?
That's where you want to go, and that. That line is your road in life. Now, we all know this. We're all old enough. Life doesn't go in a straight line, and all these things kind of come together where, different stuff is going to happen. There's emergencies. Kids go to college. Health issues, things that you feel that can derail that.
Right.
And
divorces, all sorts of things can derail,
And it sometimes it might feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill and then you get to that nice spot and it rolls back down on you.
Yep.
And you're like, what do I do? Well, with these choices, what we're trying to do, in essence, is you can't ever think of everything, but at least kind of put the pieces together as best as possible for your family. Because, and you've seen this, Gayle, when people come and ask us a question, just a direct question, one of the worst things you can ask is just, forget everything else. Mm-hmm. Just tell me how to get to this objective.
Right.
And none of our life is that compartmentalized.
Right. We have friends that do that all the time. They come and ask us, so how should I file Social Security? Oh, well, that's a big question. They don't realize it's a big question.
Exactly.
But it's a big question because it depends on what else is going on in their life. Are they still working? Are they not working? Is their spouse working? Are they not working?
Yeah.
How much do they need per month? I mean, there's so many. I'm not even hitting any of the. There's so many questions you have to ask in order to just figure that out. That sometimes a question like that you think is innocuous, just give me the answer, is not that easy.
Oh, it's exactly, and it comes to the point of you have a question, you just don't know what that question is,
right?
Because you haven't.
Sometimes you
don't
know the right questions to ask about the subject because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when you go to the doctor's office, when you see all these pieces coming together, that's why they're going to ask you these questions. How are you feeling? What's your past history? All these things, because this can make a difference between you hitting your objective or not. And so
Right.
basically what we're trying to do is think more strategically, would you say?
Exactly.
Kind of open the box a little bit more.
Exactly.
Kind of fit those pieces, because really what you're asking is, what's the best road for you?
Yeah.
And
For the game that I'm playing.
That's right. Everybody's a little different.
That's right.
So as we kind of go through these things and just, and as our shows evolve, we kind of will fit two sides. There's two main sides here. And for everybody, and you see this, Gayle, depending on where you are and the questions that you'll have, your life is kind of just like a mountain.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep.
It just fundamentally just kind of
So
keep
your
it
triangle
simple.
is the mountain?
Yep. That's
Okay.
my mountain. That's
Okay.
You like it?
I do like it.
It's a good
Awesome.
slope. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of goes up there.
That's
All right.
Could that be like, traversing the pyramids of Giza?
Oh, okay.
If they let you. Yeah, I guess so. Just start climbing the pyramid.
Do they let you?
Probably not. The Egyptians will probably go. I'm sure there's some
Oh.
police somewhere. But
So,
It's
so
probably-
you know
by
what?
the way,
I think we should try to do that though, just to
yeah,
see.
that would be good.
Well,
Yeah.
we need all of the viewers to send in $1, and
Yep.
then they'll pay for us to go to Egypt, and we'll traverse live
Absolutely.
the pyramids of Giza as the Egyptian police are chasing us.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about life choices,
That's kind of fun.
and
Oh.
that's definitely a memory moment. I would think.
I would think so. Oh, this isn't a travel channel.
No,
My bad.
but
My
we
bad.
might need an emergency fund to get bail money.
Yes.
This
yes.
is if they bail
Yeah,
Americans.
it would
If they
go.
bail
It
them.
would
We
go.
might get put on a big old stick or something.
Oh yeah,
There we go. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
No,
So-
that's
So the
perfect.
financial mountain.
So as
Yes,
we
the financial mountain. Now, here, before we go further, if you would like to name our mountain, do something creative, fun, connects with money, whatever, put it in the comments because we will use that in future shows. So go ahead and put your ideas and thoughts and, use your imagination and creativity to put, what should we name our mountain of life?
because right now we've got Pyramid of Giza.
Yes.
That's kind of fun, though.
It is
It's-
good.
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yep.
But you don't win the $25 gift card. Did you know that? We're giving a $25 gift card.
Oh,
for
I
that.
just found out we're giving a $25. Okay, $25 gift card.
Yes.
I learned
Quick
these things as we
disclaimer,
go.
all members of the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network are not available for the $25 gift card.
No, Interlinc Financial
There
will
went
be
Pyramid of
paying that
Giza.
too. Yeah. No Pyramid of Giza for us. Man. All right.
So basically, as we're going through life, and we put these pieces together, you really have two sides. One is you're climbing the mountain. In essence, that's going to be retirement planning. And for those of you listening, it depends on what side of this mountain you are, depending on what kind of questions you have. Now, retirement planning is you're building your wealth. Now,
Mhm.
this is the word that everybody knows.
Right.
And they take that word and kind of use it for their entire life
Yep.
journey, and it really doesn't apply.
It's true.
And it's just understanding this lingo of all these little things and how this industry
Yeah,
tries to.
retirement planning is until you get to the top, right? Which is when
Yep.
you're going to retire?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we get through those things. That's kind of you're building your wealth, and everybody's trying to do the best they can with that.
Right.
They're putting in 401ks and IRAs, 403bs. Some of you might be at companies that provide pensions, and so you're contributing to that.
There's so little,
I know.
some little companies are doing that now, but if God be with you if you are, that's great.
Yep, they're so small. It's like the stat, Gayle, less than 15%
Yes.
of the population, and it's
Actually
dropping.
get a pension. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, another generation, that's what they had.
Right.
They had their pension, they worked for the company, they got
Yep.
their 401k, they had Social Security. They were set,
Mhm.
and those days just have, that's a thing of
Makes
the
it
past.
harder.
Oh, yeah. Which is why, understanding this stuff, at least just generally,
Right.
helps to understand the game that's being played.
Right.
So, kind of how we grow this thing, and you're going through, and the years are passing, and you're enjoying life and saving for the future. You're going to reach an apex, and that's when you actually begin retirement. And we talk about all this all the time when we're talking to our clients, and we use the term retirement loosely, don't we?
Oh, yes. You have to get a hobby. You have to do something, part-time job, whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah.
Volunteer. Don't stay stagnant because that's not going to be good.
Yeah, I think we all learned in quarantine. There's only so much Netflix you can watch after a while, and it gets a little old. So you got to stay engaged, and
Mhm.
that's that. And that retirement, we use that that term loosely. But then once we transition, whatever that age is for whoever they are, now we're going to start coming down.
That's right.
And that is known as income planning. It's different than retirement planning. Because what that means basically in English, just to keep it simple, not running out of money.
Yeah.
Because
and then your money's coming from all over the place. So
absolutely
different Social Security, 401k. I mean, it could be a pension, but your money's coming from all over the place. And then you're also being paid differently. Like your Social Security might come at the first of the month, and you don't know. So you have to kind of plan for all of that in advance to make sure you're covering yourself properly.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of used to right now. You get a check on the once a month or twice a month.
Yep.
Goes in your account, you pay your bills, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, that's a big surprise to a lot of people. Is now money's coming in from all over the place. And
not to mention that everything's taxed differently, so you have to do that too.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely for a different show. That gets a little
that'd be
complicated.
A full hour.
Oh my gosh, and it's the government that sets this up. So of course it's not going to be straightforward, but we try, do our best. But now, and so when you talk about income planning, as you're coming down, now you're not working anymore,
right?
So you don't have that backup reserve. It's what you've saved in Social Security or pension, things like that. But here's the things that can happen. As you're coming down, now life's continuing, and you're in this phase and that transition. I mean, do you think there's a possibility taxes could go up?
Absolutely. Nobody we've asked that has said no. Like everybody's like, oh yeah, taxes are going to go up.
Happen. It's something to be prepared for. And then inflation. Things getting more expensive. Is bread going to be the same price today that's going to be 30 years from now?
No.
Probably not. And
I mean, inflation's a constant. So.
Yeah, it's good. It's never going to stop.
Right.
That's not a political thing. That's just a math thing.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And then as we've learned in 2008 with the stock market collapse, and now we had this pandemic where, the stock market, is up, but it's obviously not operating on its own. It's being helped a lot.
It's being propped a bit.
I think a lot of people understand that. And, if the safety nets were taken out of the way, then the market wouldn't be doing as well. And
we saw that when they took away the $600 extra a week for unemployment. It started.
They got all nervous.
They did.
Yeah, it's like the in a bad way to say it, but I guess maybe not. The stock market has become, like a trust fund baby, and the U.S. government is daddy, and they're saying if I don't get more money my way, I'm going to have a tantrum. And
give me my bottle. I need it.
I need it now, or I'm going to have
pacifier.
a fit. I'm going to have a fit.
Yes.
But that's the game we're playing now, and we'll transition out of that one day. But wars, they can happen. They have happened.
Right.
But the things that makes this a little bit more challenging when you're on the income planning side is all these things can affect the money you have, and you're completely out of control of how it is affected for the most part.
Exactly.
And you don't have a job to fall back onto. It's a lot more serious, and it can be a lot more nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take the hit that you used to be able to take like in the market, when you had a job. Because when you had a job, more money was coming in, you could save more. Well, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, your 401k dropped. It didn't feel good, but you still had a job to pay the bills.
Exactly.
And so that's when we kind of went through when we talked about that A to B stuff, strategic thinking. And financial planners like Gayle and I, we try to kind of guide you through how to ask some of those questions to make sure, that these things, even if these things occur, which we hope they don't,
right?
But even if they do, basically, can I get off this mountain without flatlining?
Right.
Is my family going to be okay?
Right. And like you said, I mean, when you're going to A to B, the military, if the military were to do it, if this is the military and this is your enemy, they don't just go straight at it. They have lots of different, scenarios where things could go bad.
Yeah.
And that's the strategic thinking. You have to pre-plan to make sure that's, that you're okay.
Yeah. And that's where when Gayle came up with that reference, guys, I briefly mentioned I was served in the Navy, but one of my the jobs that I had was combat tactics, air, surface, subsurface warfare, search and rescue. So we had
Just
to think
a
a
little
lot.
bit stressful.
Just a little bit stressful. I was getting gray hair by the time I was 20. But anyway, what it did, and kind of what she's talking about is, if you look at it from a militarily standpoint, the military really doesn't go in to go and get the enemy straight away. They've game planned hundreds of different scenarios, so when things go wrong, they can adapt. And bringing that philosophy in as we kind of work with families and bring those pieces together to say, life's going to happen.
Right.
There is no way
That's right.
that you're going to say, this is what I'm doing next year, and it plays out exactly that way.
Well, I mean, on a small scale, have you ever named one year where you stay completely on budget the whole time? Like you never had an extra expense? I mean, it just never happens.
No, we've never done it.
No.
I
mean,
yeah.
I have to buy those red shoes that I need,
It's in the budget. We
take
try
that extra trip sometimes. Yeah.
Yep. We got to put that in there.
Well, hey, let me ask you a quick question.
It kind of works.
Your engineer has a question. So I've been back here doing a little research because I'm like, this inflation thing's got me a little bit jacked up. Like, how do I determine inflation, right? So I went back to when milk, what it cost for me to buy a gallon of milk when I was a kid. So in 1975, milk was $1.57.
Okay.
They say now that milk is $2.90.
Mm-hmm.
Is that inflation or is that supply and demand?
Inflation.
Wow. So in the 30 minutes you guys have been on the air, my prices have inflated.
Yeah. and yeah, absolutely. So
make sure you get your checkbook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good. Sorry,
as long as it's not your waistline.
No, but see,
come on.
Thanks, Gayle. That wasn't nice. I'm now going back to my hole.
No, but that's a great point because, I mean, look at when you could go to the movie theater, when we could go,
Right.
And, it wasn't going to be almost $100 to you and your date to go and get popcorn and go sit down. It's just part of it.
Now they want an arm and a leg to go to the movies.
Yeah. Or if I always make the comment as my mom was a teacher, and she started, and this is.
What year did she start teaching?
My God, it was like 1973, something like that, 74. But anyway, here's the thing for inflation. When she started, she was paid $5,000 a year.
$5,000.
That was it.
That's
$5,000 a year.
crazy.
Now, if I was to go back in time and tell her, because she just loved it, that it was a passion.
It's
for her.
always been a passion. She does love
they
it.
had to just, kept on working until recently. She just recently retired.
Well, this year.
But if I was going to say, all right, let's fast forward all these years forward, you're going to be making $75,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
She would have
real quick. Happy birthday, Mom. Your birthday was yesterday, but happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Mom.
Yes.
Yep. Happy birthday, Mom. So she would have thought I was crazy. But the funny thing is, the buying power is about, and that's one of the things that you look at.
So
that's for you, Mom.
Yes. So when she retired, though, what she was making?
About 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. 70,
Think about that.
Like that.
I mean, that's $5,000 all the way to 70. That's inflation.
Yeah, but a new car is only $5,000 also.
Right. And houses were.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
crazy,
insane.
Crazy low.
So all these things, they can affect it, and now how do you put these puzzles together? How do you ask the right questions? What's going on? And it's not, because there's a lot of moving parts, it's not to make it, overwhelming. Right. But just working with someone and, understanding that they are legally obligated to work in your best interest, but also they can explain it in English. Would you say? That kind of helps.
Absolutely.
What's this stuff
We've
mean?
all been to professionals. I'm going to do professionals.
Oh, yeah.
That, they decide that they need to speak down to you or they use their own lingo. And it's like, can you just talk to me like I'm a person, please? I mean, please, this is crazy. So we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You wonder if are they talking to you or just they're really happy with their own IQ?
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
Of stuff like that.
Like that's the kind where you just want to, you want to hold on to your.
That's the guy.
Yeah, that's
the guy.
You want to. You want to hold on to your back pocket as you creep out the door. Oh goodness. So go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, no, that's kind of it. I mean, if you really encapsulate your life, and I hope it's not depressing that it's so simplified, but because there's a lot of, and that's it, and then you die. No. I'm just kidding. So, but all these things happen in between and can be roadblocks for us
Absolutely.
as we climb,
Yes.
and roadblocks for us as we come down.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go through this, and we're going to have guests on the show that might go and ask more specific areas of all these little mechanics and what can happen.
I'm going to throw a question at you.
Okay.
What would you say our most successful client, like, what are their traits?
What are their traits?
Yes.
I would say, one, they're responsible.
Yes. I would say that's the very first thing.
Very first thing.
Right.
That they want to get a hold of their situation.
I would, yeah.
I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you could have the best trainer in the world, and if you don't want to work out, it's just not going to happen.
They're not going to follow what they say.
Yeah. So it's just that's with everyone.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that's why my waistband. Yeah, I got you.
So it just.
Yeah. Okay, Gayle.
We're
I love you, JP.
Yeah. No, we're not. No. So all of those things, that's number one.
Right.
Two, if it's, that doesn't matter if you're single or married. When you're married, and we know this, and it happens. I mean, we have our clients will come in the office and sit down, and sometimes it can be very engaging because they're both on the same page. And they have.
And sometimes it can be very engaging because they're not on the same page.
Yes, and that's our Dr. Phil moments.
Yes.
That can happen.
Yes.
I mean, that's part of it. Understanding how do we get to achieve goals and compromises and things like that, and because it's not about the math. I mean, the math is important. I mean, one of the biggest things that we always say is it is emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, money's emotional.
Money's definitely emotional.
Oh, absolutely. This is your life, and it represents, decisions you've made and your family and all these things. And some things you're very confident with, some things you're terrified of.
Right.
And how can I
this year alone, with COVID and all this fun stuff, it's been very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't know, are we going to, owning your own company as we do, you don't know. Are we still, we aren't able to market like we used to. So, now we're not making as much. So what should we cut back on? Because you have to cut back.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I mean, that's not just stressful, it's emotional.
Yeah. And you think of all those business owners that didn't have that opportunity.
True.
Because they had, the restaurants, all those things,
Right.
and everybody.
Or people that just lost their job. I mean, people that are, they didn't necessarily own a business, but they lost their job.
Term is furlouged.
Oh, excuse me, furloughed. They got furloughed.
They got furloughed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's the new term.
Yeah, but all of those things, and on a side note, make sure, and this really is important because those businesses are struggling, and if you're out there in your communities, just please support your local businesses.
Absolutely.
I mean, Target, Walmart, Amazon, they're going to be fine.
Right.
But the people out there, really, that make our communities run, it's just buy some stuff from them.
That's why we're going to start doing seminars again. And when we started thinking, let's go to some of the local restaurants and support them.
Yeah.
And do the marketing then.
Yeah, because we've never done that before.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of our stuff was just on colleges and campuses, and very more academic.
Yeah, when we were doing our seminars before.
When we did those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
we never did that. So this will be our first transition because at least you'll learn something, but at least it'll help the restaurant.
Right. Absolutely. So back to successful clients. They're responsible. What else do they do?
They're responsible. They're on the same page. They want to work together.
Okay.
And it really creates more of a team approach, I would say.
Do they stay within budget usually? Or is that part of responsibility?
I think that would be kind of responsibility. I mean, it all comes. I don't care where that fits. It's math. I mean, if you make $5 and spend 10, the math just isn't going to work.
This is true.
It doesn't matter.
I will say the most successful clients actually had it top of mind to even make a budget. Whereas a lot of people that come in, they didn't even realize how much they make, how much they spend. They just know that they're comfortable and they're good.
Yeah. And isn't it surprising? I mean, we'll have people come into our office that are in their 60s and never thought about a budget
or how much they spend. They don't even know how much they spend.
They don't know.
They just know they can cover their bills.
Yeah, but when you start coming down the mountain,
You better know.
You
how
better
much
know
spend.
because there's only so much money you got now.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it.
Right.
And so learning those things. But
Right.
I'd say what do you think? Think more than that? A successful client?
When you say they're on the same page, let's just extrapolate from that a little bit. When we say on the same page, we're not saying that they get along perfectly, for sure.
No,
I mean,
no.
you and I don't get along perfectly, although I love you.
That's not what you said yet. I'm sorry.
Hey, you don't have to out me in front of. I'm going to tell you what.
I am married. Whatever you say, dear.
Yes, you better say that.
That's good.
Oh my goodness.
If anybody wasn't sure if we were married, all the guys knew
Yes.
in that moment.
Yes.
Yep.
No, Steve's a very good husband. We get along great all the time.
Always.
Yes, always. So I would say that, but they come together on the important things.
Oh,
The important decisions that are made financially, and they're on the same page with that, and they work together to be prudent. I mean, that's really, I would say that's the most, as far as successful.
I would say so. Yeah.
And they put a priority on saving money their whole life. So we have met people that, due to life, I mean, something happens, and this happened. I mean, life happens. For some reason, they couldn't start saving until they were 50, 55, and then, you're hopefully making enough where you can put back enough to be able to retire at a good time. I mean, it just happens that, there are times that expenses come around for health or divorce or, some kind of legal issue, or your children had some kind of problem. I mean, just all sorts of things can truly just drain you to where you can't save for retirement.
Right.
But when they come to us and that's the situation, you're now behind the 8 ball, and you have to really save a ton to be able to retire at a good age. But that doesn't mean that they're not responsible. It just means that that's the situation that occurred.
Life events.
Right.
So what is that? What is a ton? Like, what's it represent? Like, for example, I made $130,000 a year for 28 years, let's say.
Sure.
I didn't. For about 10 years. Mm-hmm. How much of a percentage of that do I need to have back in savings to be able to retire?
So I'm going to say that depends.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So that's a great question. A lot of people will ask that.
Yeah.
What
it really
percentage?
is a good,
Give me a number.
Good question.
And we actually backtrack that, and because everybody's different with that number.
Right.
And what it comes down to in retirement, in today's dollars, like if you were to say this, and this is a great question that we get asked all the time.
Yeah.
How much do I need to save?
Right.
Because you hear the catch answers of you need to have $1 million in retirement,
Mm-hmm.
or you got to save 20% or whatever it is. The rules of thumb.
Right.
And what I always tell people is, it's a rule of thumb. It's not gospel.
That's true.
Those things change.
That is true.
And they change with the times, but the problem is the rule of thumb don't. So here's the question back to you. In today's dollars, if you were to retire today, how much would you want to spend a month?
$10,000.
Okay. Now from that, we backtrack.
Right.
Because now we're $10,000 after taxes. Because nobody cares about the gross check, and I don't live on my gross. I live on my net.
Right.
And so we go through these calculations and say, okay, what would that look like? And now you take inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, well, if I need $10,000 today, 10 years from now, I'm probably going to need about almost 20 coming in the door to have the same buying power. And then from that, go back and say, this is how much we need to put away to be putting
right to get
that
to
target
that,
together.
To get to that target. Right.
So if but if you're working as a financial planner, Gayle and myself, we're always going to say you can never save enough. That's always going to be us. We also know that that's not realistic.
Exactly.
But, if you got a 401k at work, at least go to the match. We know that.
Because that's free money.
Yeah, take the free money.
Right.
If you can max it out, or here's the question. At $130,000 a year, if you're in a certain age group,
Mm-hmm.
You can put away $19,000, $20,000 a year in your 401k. Can you comfortably do that? And I'm asking, JP. on that one. Could you comfortably do that and not affect your lifestyle?
And I think I did. I mean, I say
Yeah.
I think I did, but that's what went back to my retirement.
Sure.
Was roughly about 16,000. I think is what I ended up putting back a year.
Sure.
I think my retirement takeout was, I don't remember, but it was somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, believe it or not, is way above average for the average American.
Yeah.
Way above. We are just not a country of savers. And that's one of the things why we approached it the way we did was to help people work more efficiently.
Right.
And kind of go through that. So, but with all that, I think that's really where I would go with our good clients. Yeah. That they would say they're a team.
Yes.
They
are
understand.
Definitely a team.
They understand. They're not pointing fingers.
Right.
Whatever decisions were made in life, it happened. We're here.
Right.
How do we get to the next phase, and how do we do it together?
Absolutely.
And we do that in our we in fact we really don't really work with families very much that don't.
Well, if they're not on the same page, it's kind of difficult. Sometimes
to be as a guide
to work with them because we don't want to be put in a situation where like the wife is calling and saying, what did my husband do? Blah, blah, blah. No, we're not going to do Dr. Phil. It's y'all need to both be on the phone if you're going to be in that situation or, I did not go to psychiatry school.
No. We didn't get that therapy session there. No, there's some laws in there where we can't do that, but I don't need a headache.
That's true. There are laws.
Before we break out the aspirin to resolve your headache.
Absolutely. I think I felt one coming on just remembering.
This question may give you a headache.
Oh, goodness.
Because you've crossed that bridge. I think it's an important bridge to cover, right?
Yeah.
What if you're in a relationship or a marriage where it's a single person income holder? You've dealt with lots of couples, right?
Right.
Sure. How do I get to have a 50-50 stake in the conversation of what we're saving if I've got somebody who says, I make the money, I determine where it goes?
Community property laws. No, I'm just, but with that, no, that that does happen. Yeah, and
it does.
But also, what we also find is that because let's say one spouse has been the main breadwinner, and financially that's true.
Yeah, it happens.
The other thing that we do come across a lot is they also make a lot of the big picture financial decisions.
Right.
Like maybe the person that's at home, they pay the bills. Okay. But the person that is the breadwinner more is looking at retirement and putting all these pieces together, and the person that stays home doesn't even want to know about it.
Right. They take care of the investments, all of that. Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly, what you find, in those situations of good relationships.
Yeah.
And not to stereotype, but more often than not, at least when you're dealing with an older demographic or the baby boomers, stuff like that, it's usually the man that was out working. And they're under a tremendous amount of stress.
Yeah.
Because what really happens with those people, and it's surprising, is, and they come in the office, they're terrified in that did I make the right decision to make sure my family's safe?
Yeah. Are
they going to be okay? And that's really the best. So it really isn't as much of a situation as you would think where they're, well, I made it, I'm going to make the call.
Right.
It transitions into, if I'm not here, how is the surviving spouse going to do this? Because they don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't want to understand it.
I have to say that's kind of one of the biggest compliments, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. When they first come in, they're like this. And they're kind of nervous, and they're talking, and they're really nervous about it. And then we go through it and show everything, our spreadsheet and all, and then they go,
yeah.
That's like the biggest compliment ever.
Yeah, when those shoulders drop and they kind of figure out there's a plan and a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And we're big about backups.
Yeah.
They're a backup to the backup.
No, that's the strategy.
Yeah, kind of doing that. Then that takes a lot of pressure off.
It does.
It
does.
I would see, but really, in that situation, if we see, that's, I would say 95% of that situation when one spouse is at home full time.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is not just the breadwinner, but also knows that they're the strength of the income,
right,
and also the weakness,
right.
And if anything happens to them, it's over.
Yeah.
And
to answer your question a little bit, JP, at our office we have both. husband and wife show,
Mhm.
because they have to be on the same page. So if they're not on the same page, that's a problem. And sometimes one of the spouses that doesn't take care of the investments or that sort of putting money back for the retirement, they are the ones that get their eyes open and like, oh, I didn't realize that. And it's not because the husband or the wife didn't try to explain it to the other.
Right.
It's just because they just didn't take the time to really sit down and learn it. I'm taking care of the bills, the day-to-day bills, and I'm good at budgeting for that. But I don't want to talk about this retirement stuff, And that's generally when we sit down with them, they're able to see, both of them are able to then to get more on the same page and be, oh, okay, this is where we're at, or this is what we need to do to get where we're at, or where we need to be, that sort of thing. So,
I would say that's one of and when they are on that's the most rewarding.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And it's not about, for the most part, you don't have to be multimillionaires and stuff. It's all about,
No.
Here's the big thing. I've seen people make $900,000 a year, and they'll find a way to spend 901.
Right.
It's just part of people. And then we'll see a family that makes 150 combined, and they've already have saved $500,000.
That's right.
It's just about using what you have.
That's absolutely right.
So going back to when you were putting away that much in your 401k, that's above average.
Yes.
But that's
and
what we see.
The goal there too is to start early so that compound interest can work in your favor.
Oh yeah.
So that's why when you get older, you have to start putting back more. That's kind of just the way it goes.
Well, and let me ask a dumb question before you go on.
Yes.
Sure.
What is compound interest versus simple interest or whatever? What is that? You say compound interest. I don't know what you mean. You mean like joint compound where I'm going to fix the tub, or?
There you go.
Well, joint compound doesn't multiply, so.
Well, it does spread, though.
It does spread.
It's elastic.
It does spread.
It does move with you.
It's right.
Why don't you take that one? Because I'm not good at the definition.
And that kind of stuff? Okay. So here's the interesting thing. Compound interest. It basically means, and it actually was defined, a very, very smart person, someone that was
that's
better than me.
That's a good one.
And better than all of us in this room in mathematics. And he said compound interest was the 8th wonder of the world. And you know who that was?
I do.
You know who that was?
Isaac Newton?
Close. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. Well, actually, I did know it was. I thought I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Also, the French guy. I thought he may have said it too. The Economist.
Which one? You're going to throw me. I got to go on Wikipedia really fast.
Oui, monsieur.
It is the morning, so
It's
hold
not
on.
oui,
And
oui,
I haven't had my
monsieur.
coffee.
No, and you haven't had your coffee.
I have my coffee.
Hey, by the way,
Throw it to Gayle.
The engineer can actually do the gimbal thing and follow you to the coffee.
That'd be
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
So
That'd be
one morning
perfect.
we need to do that.
That'd be
And probably
fine.
like 9 to 5 music, working 9 to 5 or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do the dancing.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that too.
I'm good with that.
All men are now tuning in.
I'm good with that. What was I thinking again? What was the comment? What? Oh, compound interest. That's a lot more exciting.
Yeah, that's so more. such.
Now I've got 9 to 5 dancing in my head. So that was good.
9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Copyright infringement.
You have just been blocked by all social media
that
agencies.
just happened. Sorry, Dolly.
That just happened. So is this how you can get off also on your financial future? Sometimes there's distractions out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We all have them.
I mean, got to get off somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. And you thought this was a financial show.
So let me just read what Wikipedia says about compound interest.
Let's kind of go through that. I think I'm just going to be quiet.
All right, so compound interest
All right.
is the addition of interest to the principal sum of the loan or deposit, or in other words, interest on interest.
So basically, it's compounding. So
Right.
your interest earning interest. Here's a great little example. If you take a penny and you double a penny, and here's a quick quiz, and I don't expect anybody to know the answer, but if you double a penny and you have 2 pennies, then 4, then 6, and 8, and it starts doubling. At the end of 20 days, you'd have, I think, and I'm roughing from memory, something like $600,000.
Right.
Just doubling. Now, here's the question to you, JP. If you were kind of you went 20 days doubling that penny, and in 20 days, it took you to get to $600,000. Okay? Just doubling. Compound interest. And how many more days do you think it would take to get well over $1 million if it took you 20 to get to 600? Just guessing.
If I had to guess, I'd say 12.
Okay. And that's fantastic. Most people think it takes another 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is once that doubling, now you're doubling on 600,000. So by the end of 30 days, you're well over $1 million.
No, you're 5,368,000.
Oh, did you do the math over?
Yeah, in my head.
Okay. See?
With this computer.
That's what coffee does for you.
Yes.
So
Got
you want to
some
get better at
caffeine?
math? Don't talk to me. Talk to the girl that has the coffee. But that's what's staggering about that is that compound interest. And that's why he said it was the eighth wonder of the world. And so with simple interest, your interest isn't growing on interest. It just is straight.
Right. You can think of your mortgage payment.
Yeah, that's
a simple
those kind of things.
interest.
And so if you had a choice, you want your money growing compounded.
Right.
And so that's kind of how that fits. But and that's a great question because we get that. It's one of those little technical jargons. What does it mean? And why is that important?
Right.
And that's why when you're saving in the early years, it's, you got to take your time. You be patient. You sit there and you look at it and you say, I've been saving and I only have whatever money in there.
Right.
You hoped you should have more. But if it keeps on growing, when you start getting to 10, 15, 20 years, it's almost like a logarithmic curve because that balance is so large.
That's right.
It starts shooting up.
So we are Moneylinc, brought to you by Interlinc Financial on the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. I was supposed to do that a long time ago, but I forgot. So here we go. You want to go over the tanks so that because we have like 8 minutes left.
Well, before you do that, how do I get a hold of you guys?
Oh, okay.
Like, if I need a new retirement team, how do I get a hold of y'all?
Definitely contact her.
That didn't help me. Reach through the television.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
And grab her. What? I mean, help me out here.
So our phone number is 214-778-5645.
Yep, and you can also read Gayle's email.
No, you're supposed to respond. 214-778-5645.
Oh, I did.
Like you're supposed to say it too.
Okay.
Okay, ready? We're going to do that again.
Let me do that again.
All right, so you can call me at 214-778-5645.
And that's 214-778-5645.
Good job.
Thank you.
Or you can email me at Gayle, Gayle, at Interlinc with the C at the end, financial.com.
And that's Gayle at Interlinc with a C
at the end, yes.
That's how my brain works without coffee in the morning. Interlinkfinancial.com. So.
Oh, goodness. Well, this has been fun so far.
Has.
So, okay, tell me about the tanks because I need to know.
Well,
we have 6 minutes.
Well, one of the things with the tanks is kind of just a cash flow puzzle.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of gotta maybe go more into that depth maybe on the next episode.
Well, we will. But
because
you want to introduce them?
Yeah. So basically, what we'll be doing, and there's a lot of big pieces in here as we look on this. This is what she means about the tanks. And for those watching, it's I don't care whether you're 25, 45, 55, or 105. It doesn't matter. It's cash flow. That's really what this is in its most basic form. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of questions, but it's cash flow. How much money is coming in and how much is going out? Right. It really is. I don't care what stage in life you are. But your life, as we talked about the mountain going up and coming down, in that journey, when you're going up and coming down, it's still broken into 3 main tanks.
True.
And you're going to carry these with you all the way through. One is this big one in the front. That's an income tank. That's all that is. It's your job. If you're in retirement, it's Social Security, pension, those kind of things. This is a check that's going to show up no matter what. Okay? And as it goes through those tanks, before we get access to it, down there is a little thing that I circled called the tax filter, and that's the IRS.
That's right.
And
Uncle Sam.
we always got to take that into account, don't we?
Yes, we do. Uncle Sam wants your money.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can't forget about them because they're not going to forget about you.
That's very true.
You know, and
they'll hunt you down.
Yes, they will. They will. And so we got to take that into consideration, not just on the spending, but then it goes out the other way.
Right.
And
Very easily.
Very easily flows out the other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe more easily than we wish.
Right.
And so we have one of these things here. As we look at this, like I said, this could be your salary, your pension, Social Security.
Yep.
You know, pretty simple, you know. So these things will be in position depending on where you are, going up or coming down that mountain.
That's true.
What's activated?
That is true.
Over here is investments. Okay, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, all these things, all these little weird acronyms, which, you know, believe it or not, those 401ks, 403bs, 457s, all those are just IRS tax codes. That's
true.
what they are. That's where their names come from. But we do know that the government set up the rules on how they're going to operate.
Yes.
So when we look at investments, at least the way we want you looking at it is don't get overwhelmed with, you know, am I diversified? Am I in stocks or bonds or whatever? You just keep it simple. If you can lose money, it goes in that tank in any capacity. Like we know stocks can go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't know that bonds actually, you can lose money in bonds.
You can. They're considered more safe, but you can lose.
What you think of just in the generality of it was bonds are safe, I can't lose. Well, that's not true. Far from it.
Right.
In fact, because of where we are in the economic environment they can actually be more risky.
True.
You know, and then real estate. You know, is that a given that you're going to earn money on real estate or can you lose that?
You can lose.
Just keep it simple so it goes in that bucket.
Right.
And as we go through this, as we talked about at the beginning and learning, you know, way back when what going to the movie was and a gallon of milk was
milk cost?
Inflation. And, you know, we're being nice at around 3%.
Right.
And here's one of the things. Whatever the government says inflation is, add a few points to that number. You know, just as
they are calculating it differently.
They are calculated very differently, which we
can explain that some other time.
Yeah. And then over here, we have our savings, which is our checking, savings, investment, you know, emergency funds.
Right.
Those kind of things. Now, the problem is we're not earning any money there.
Right.
And so it's not keeping up with inflation.
That's exactly right.
We're earning,
but it's harder. Some. Yeah.
So as things get more expensive, what happens to your buying power?
It goes down.
Yeah. And this is kind of what you were talking about with the gallon of milk. So was it more people or just more expensive?
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of goes. And as we go through this, there's other things that occur in these life decisions, and we're always going to kind of reference back to this cash flow stuff.
Right.
You know, because what ends up happening is you ask that one question, it's a component of a bigger picture.
Right.
And when you see it, now you know how to ask a better question for your family.
Exactly. So stay tuned with us on Thursday morning, 7:30 to 8:30, because we are going to go over more information, go through these tanks a little bit more closely and more detail. And thanks for joining us today. We really enjoyed being with you guys, and I hope you come back.
It was fun.
Absolutely.
Have a good rest of your day, everyone.
We enjoyed it. Moneylinc, brought to you by Interlinc Financial on JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network at Adventure X.
Advisory services are offered by Interlinc Financial Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Texas. Insurance products and services are offered through Interlinc Financial Advisors, Inc. and Texas Family Insurance, Inc., an affiliated company here on JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network.